what the witnesses saw. It was the last bus of the evening, so I had very few customers. I remember it well. The victim and the man accused of killing him were sat next to each other inside the bus. And out of the blue, the accused just reached over and plunged a knife right into his guts. That's right, he stabbed him. I screamed, I did, couldn't help it. I took me, I saw my bus, and then I saw it too, and then I saw my whip. I clip into the witness's bench. Unambiguous testimony, I must say. Exactly, my lord. These men witnessed the incident in the omnibus with their own eyes. I think that's the voice I'm gonna try and give him, if I can remember it. I'd like to ask a question, if I may? Yes, counsel? Well, this testimony makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. Why not? Well, the incident took place inside a moving carriage, didn't it? As it's been clearly stated for the outset, yes. Well, in that case, how could those two witnesses possibly have seen what had happened? There's no way they could have seen the inside of the moving carriage. They're all making fun of you, Ryunosuke. They're all like, what a clown. How quaint. I've read that civilization in the Eastern Island nations was a good century behind our own. Oh no, they're keeping the racism. Oh no. Well, you're here in London yourself. Are you really so ignorant about our omnibuses? Huh? Tell me, my Nepalese friend, have you ever traveled in an omnibus? Well, no. Well, I only arrived in London this morning. No matter. I've arranged for us to see for ourselves the actual scene of the crime. What? Do you mean the actual scene? How? Carriage is designed to be moved, after all. Presumably you understand that much. Yeah. The omnibus in which this bloody crime took place is here today in this very building. Here, what? The entire carriage? Bailiff, bring forth the stricken omnibus. So that's it, the omnibus. I can't believe they could bring something so enormous in here. Their brains courtrooms are amazing. As you can see, the omnibus is pulled by 2 horses. It can carry up to 8 passengers. 4 passengers seated inside the enclosed cabin and another 4 on the rooftop deck above. Every Londoner knows that the best views of the city architecture and sights are to be had at the top of the omnibus. I shall point to our foreign guests that there's a skylight in the roof, allowing a view of the interior from the seats above. Ah, skylight! Oh! The penny drops at last, I see. These 2 gentlemen were occupying the rooftop seats on this omnibus when the murders took place. That's how they came to witness the grim incident. Through the skylight. That makes perfect sense. Well, counsel, this is a first. In all my years behind the bench, I've never experienced the crime scene itself being brought into the courtroom. There are a number of important clues remaining inside the carriage, my lord. I would like to submit the omnibus itself as evidence. That is the prosecution's wish. and it ain't dead. Very well, I see no reason why not. This omnibus is hereby formally accepted as evidence. Can't believe it. The entire crime scene entered as evidence. Yes, great work is simply extraordinary. I can help myself a lot by giving that omnibus a thorough examination, seeing as it's here. Let us continue with proceedings then. Cross-examination, counsel. Pray don't expect these Nepalese stray to understand the intricacies of a British courtroom cross-examination rights. We actually have cross-examination back in our country, bucko. Buckaroony. Alright, my first cross-examination at British court. Focus, Ryunosuke. Focus. Cross-examination. What the witnesses saw. It was the last bus of the evening, so I very few... Hold it! Hold it! Yes, I think it was some after 10, wasn't it? Yes, sir, that's right, sir. Yes, so-called phrasing and... Phrasing... Hold on, friggin' something's blocking my screen. Phrasing, in fact, there we go. You had 4 passengers on board at the time, is that correct? Yes, that's right, sir. Not all traveling in the same parts of the bus, of course, so no. There were no other passengers when the incident took place. Not one alighted, for example. That's quite right, sir. No other passengers like that, no, none. So nobody fled the scene of the crime, then. I have to say, the buses are running, and he does every evening, that last bus of the night. But I will wonder sometimes if altogether worthwhile. Yes, sorry to say. What do you mean by that? Oh, what's with being so cold and everything? It only depends on what's right, you see. Yes, I spent that much on the pub on the way home, just trying to warm up again. Before we go any further, let's investigate this omnibus. You can certainly see inside the carriage through this opening, that's for sure. Yes, and there's a lamp in there enclosed in the enclosed cabin, so I'm sure the witnesses would have been able to see quite clearly. That's not good for us. So this is the roof deck of the omnibus. Oh, you must have a wonderful view of the London streets from up here. The people sit all the way up here on a bitter winter night with the cold air rushing through past them? And they have to pay money to do so? I can't imagine how cold it must feel. That just made me think of something horrible. Can you imagine being dragged around the city in the freezing cold as a punishment? Perhaps that is the real price you pay to stay out late. Okay. Freaking wackies. What? The Phoenix Wright omnibus? They were like, guys, we have to put Phoenix Wright in the game somehow. They're like, but we already have his ancestor. And they're like, do it again. And they're like, well, let's open the door and get inside, shall we? Oh, the scene of a murder. It's horrible. Notice. Oh, well, there's blood right here. The blood that's soaked into the seat. The victims, obviously. Yes, and the seat that would clearly be visible from the roof deck. Could you really stab someone in full view of the other passengers like that, though? I wonder. Well, it was after dark. And there was a lamp burning in here. Perhaps the culprit couldn't see anything outside through the skylight. Whichever way you look at it, it doesn't seem like it was a planned attack. It doesn't seem like it was a planned attack. Nothing on the floor. Anything over. The seat has a handle, it seems. bunch of stuff in here. This looks like sort of equipment that might need to keep the omnibus running. Feeding tubs, tools to repair wheels, blankets, horseshoeing tools. My bad. Feeding tubs, tools to repair the wheels, blankets, horseshoeing tools. So it's a storage compartment for the coachman to keep his things, it seems. There doesn't seem any space for passengers to stow their luggage, that's for sure. Well, I don't imagine it'd be very convenient for the purpose anyways. True. Yeah, that looks about it. Victim and the man.
Hold it!
Hold it! Wait a minute! Did you saw them through the skylight and the roof of the carriage? That's right. You sit up on the top deck, the window's right there at your feet. There was a lamp on inside, so I had a pretty good view. The two of them were wearing hats, and I couldn't exactly make out their faces. But there's not a shred of doubt in my mind that it was Mr. McGilden. So how can you be so sure? Well, how can I put it politely? Mr. Gillen is a gentleman of rather small stature. I couldn't have mistaken him for anyone else. Let's not forget that when the vehicle came to a halt, the only people inside the enclosed cabin were the deceased Mr. Mason and Mr. McGilden. There's no room for doubt here. Oh, I really wish there was. Then out of the blue, the accused just reached over and plunged a knife right into his guts.
Hold it!
His whole guts. The whole... You actually saw the exact moment it happened? I did already testify to that. Or fair dinkum, hard-working city bankers. Or fair dinkum, hard-working city bankers not considered trustworthy these days? Oh, no, I didn't mean that. This is no good. I really got his back up. Perhaps you could just tell us what you saw in a little more detail if that's... My lord! Jury number 3, what's the meaning of this? My mind made up, my lord. Completely and utterly made up. Made up about what? I don't think the stinking rich. I don't like the stinking rich. Never have. They're always up to something or other that they shouldn't be. Every one of them. And that little leprechaun of a man is no exception. Well, you can't fool me. Guilty. No point wasting time listening to any more of this. That's my opinion on the matter anyway. Hold it! This is precisely what I was about to say. As the foreman of the jury, it's my duty to set a good example for my fellow jurors. Well, what is happening here? Suzuto, what's the snitch? What's the snack? Wait. The sitch. Suzuto, what's the sitch? Like from Kim Possible. Let me see. Oh yes, it seems that's how members of the jury give their verdicts. With fire? Apparently, yes. White for innocent and black for guilty. As the 6 members of the jury make up their minds about the case, one by one, they each cast a ball of fire into the great scales of justice, as we saw a moment ago. So if their enormous scales fall apart completely to the black side, does that mean... Let's do our best to make sure that doesn't happen. Now I'm even more worried than I was before. Very well. Court acknowledges the change of the jury stance. Counsel for the defense, please continue with your cross-examination. This is a nightmare. That's right, he stabbed me. I couldn't help me.
Hold it!
You stabbed him, you say? You're sitting up on the roof deck, were you? Yes, that's right, sir. I was up on the roof seats. I remember seeing the gent sitting next to the fellow that was stabbed. I was thinking about a new hat design, you see, so I was just gazing absentmindedly around. But then I happened to look down through the skylight. It was sticking right out of his belly, that huge great knife. Grim sight indeed. It didn't help me at all. Oh, they're discussing among us. curious. Looks like they're even more convinced my client did it than they were before. It appears to have made everyone even more dubious that Mr. McGillicuddy is telling the truth. If only there's some evidence to counter their suspicions. Mr. First. Yes, sir? Is this the knife you saw? Oh, good grief, yes, that's it. That's the, oh, it's the very one, sir. Yes, is that? Yes, counsel, this is the blade that was driven into the victim's belly like a stake through the heart. This is a blade of considerable size, counsel. It is, and furthermore, the scabbard is emblazoned prominently with a certain initial, the letter M, which seems oddly familiar. That's what do they call it? That's leading the question. Is it leading the answer? One of those. You're making us see it that way, but it's definitely not that way. Please no. M for Magnus, perhaps, or McGilded, possibly. Take your pick. It seems this particular big name in London made a magnificent mistake.
Objection!
Objection! But there's an M everywhere. Like, yes. Like in Mason.
Objection!
The blade is far too extravagant for a poor brickmaker to have owned. No, this weapon of murder almost certainly belongs to the accused. Not conclusive, but certainly compelling, counsel. Hold on. Sorry. Murder weapon. The largest knife that was found in the lives of the victim's abdomen. Its quality and fancy ornament suggest it might be quite valuable. My lord, if you forgive the interruption. Juror number 2, go on. Mr. McGillicuddy is a pillar of society and a gentleman, and a gentleman's word should be sacrosanct. However, those of us in service know we must accept hard truths. Wait! What are you about to do? Dispose of the rubbish. No! Don't wish to cause offense, but I do like to eradicate all traces of filth and grime. Hold it! I have painstakingly typed everywhere and added here and cross-referenced all the facts. As such, I am now in position to draw the only logical conclusion. Not again. That's 4 out of 6 jury members who proposed a guilty verdict. There are only 2 left. We've had it. Every time I press the witnesses for more information, I just make the situation worse. Nevertheless, what we need more than anything at the moment is more information. We're still very much in the dark. I suppose I just have to keep pressing the witnesses, knowing that more sparks may very well fly. We mustn't give up hope that we'll uncover something. Didn't mean to breast that. That'll give us a way to fight back. But alright, I'll keep trying. I can't give up. I just have to keep calm and listen to the witnesses' statements again. What? Wasn't there one more press? As soon as I heard the scream, it's on my bed, and hold it! Are you sure? What exactly did you see? What exactly did you see? Oh, well, sir, that would be the passenger, sir. He collapsed on the floor, he was. And by the passenger, obviously you're referring to the victim, Mr. Mason, the brickmaker. And on the other hand, the passenger had that knife in his hand, and I like this. By the other passenger, you obviously are referring to the accused, Mr. Magnus McGilded. And then he plunged it down like this, stabbing the other passenger at the belly. What? My lord. Wait. My lord, I wish to speak. Yes. Gesture number 5? Or do I take it that you two are the master of the London Guild of Constables? The idea of a murder being committed in one of the city's characters is utterly abhorrent to me. I wouldn't be willing to make a decision before seeing all the facts, though, I said to myself. But I've had enough now, the heart is bolted, as they say. No, please, just keep an open mind a little longer. See up now, Silver Blaze, the finish is in sight. That follows a long-standing member of the guild, and I trust what the man says. Oh, thank you, sir. You're too kind, sir. This is so too kind, sir. Which now means the 5 jurors agree to condemn this man. Madam Juror number 6. Yes, dear. What can I do for you? You've heard the testimonies of the witnesses in the stand. Well, yes, I certainly have. Still got my hearing, you know. Then pray tell where you yet to pronounce your leaning. Well, dear, the thing is, I'm a creature of habit, me. We're going to park it right this time of day and sit on a nice bench and go on with my knitting. Just a lovely little park near where I live. Mr. McGilded Park, it's called. The gentleman donated it to the city, you know, to put a smile under his face, he said. I can't imagine such a fine young gentleman would have it in him to take another man's life. He's always doing wonderful things in the city. That's right, a man like him wouldn't stab someone, surely. Mother, may I go to the McGilded Park, the public library later and borrow some more books? How many Londoners live with their hands on their heads in the clouds? Do you people not know what kind of man Magnus McGilded really is? Oh shit, the music! The philanthropist, Magnus McGilded, has enough wealth to purchase the entire city he claims to value so highly. But where did all the wealth come from? Your client is a Shylock, sir, and one with the very darkest of souls. What? Stone the crows! Mr. Miguel lends money at extraordinary rates of interest, so his victims have no hope of repaying him. When the default, he takes possession of everything they own. He's a vulture that preys on the weak. I've never heard any mention of that before. Your faculties haven't deserted you, I'm sure, ma'am. So had the thought not crossed your mind? Your man wealthy enough to buy London and entirely not have a carriage of his own. Hey, I don't think this is right. Oh no. Oh no. He's about to turn it around. What possible reason can the man have to make such a to make use of a public omnibus service? You're not saying that the victim, a poor brickmaker, had next to nothing in his name, save considerable financial liability. So it was no surprise that his creditor was the accused Magnus McGilded. But let's all be known. The very day Mr. Mason was killed was the final repayment date for his debts. Good gracious! The brickmaker was destitute. He had lost his house, and he was not a shilling in which to repair. Oh, and he didn't have any money. Okay, my bad. And in the end, his pitiful soul had the very last thing he owned taken from him: his life. By the merciless philanthropist pretender, Magnus McGilded. I don't believe it.
Hold it!
If I might add something briefly, the Susato claimed that the victim had lent money by Mr. McGilded. But where's the evidence to support your claim? Oh no. Well, he's about to destroy us. Pray forgive the discourtesy of filling my hollow chalice in a court of law. Haha, there it is. Lord Van Syke's hollow chalice. It is be considered acceptable. But if I find myself in unexpectedly good humor, I've heard ladies from the Far East could show great courage, but I didn't expect to experience it myself. Ah! As judicial assistant in defense, I'm simply doing my job. What a pity that your display of courage is in vain. This is the debtor's ledger, which details all monies loaned by the accused. You will find the victim's name clearly recorded inside. Oh. Allow me to present this ledger as evidence. And pray forgive the discourtesy of raising my chalice and a toast to the ignamin East at the same time. Marvelous toast, Counsel. I will gladly accept this new evidence. We are fucked.